Defames the Comfort Women. March 2015 by Allies for Truth about Comfort Women. Guide to the panels if you are in a hurry. 1. Check the FAQ and see the relevant pages. Japan-Korea for the final and decisive resolution concerning for the Comfort Women issue. The dispute is on the interpretation of the bilateral treaties, agreement on the settlement of problem concerning property and claims and the economic cooperation between the Republic of Korea and Japan. International dispute needs to be settled by rules of justice, not by armed power. The sole competent authority for a settlement of an international dispute. ICJ, the International Court of Justice, in Hague. What Japanese expects from USA and UN. To do. Recommend and support for the final settlement through laws and rule. Advise Korea to provide an evidence of sex slaves. Advise Korea to appeal to ICJ, the International Court of Justice, instead of overblowing in non-competent committees of UN. Not to do. Do not support any party who make a baseless claim. Do not allow any nation/party to abuse this issue for their political or diplomatic ambitions and benefits. List of misconceptions items. 1. Comfort women were not slaves nor sex slaves. 2. Majority were Japanese women. 3. Comfort women were highly remunerated and lived in good living conditions. Comfort women were also able to marry freely. 4. Some comfort women applied for the job themselves. Some were recruited by brokers or their locals. Some were getting advances, apprenticed by relatives. Japanese government forbade forceful recruitment of comfort women and prosecuted offenders. The military confirmed comfort women the works as their discretions. 5. There were around 40,000 comfort women, not 200,000. 6. The Kono statements were not based on evidence. Statements were made as diplomatic compromise. 7. Testimony of comfort women were unverified stories. 8. With compassion, Japan apologized and atoned. Comfort women are defamed by those who define comfort women as sex slaves. Say comfort women were abducted by the Japanese military. Blackmail using comfort women as propaganda tool. Aim to create animosity between US-Japan alliance. By using comfort women as propaganda tool. Claim comfort women as human right violation, while hiding and/or disregarding daily ongoing prostitution/sex slavery. Majority of comfort women were Japanese. Comfort women were well remunerated for their works. One majority were of Japanese, around 50% or more. 2. Total number of comfort women, around 40,000. 200,000 women were abducted. No evidence. Invisual technology innovated 20th century. No report, no claim, nor no resistance. For 5 to 6 decades after such incidents. No Korean men died to save the women from such toil. No record of Korean men giving lives to save abducted daughters, sisters, granddaughters, girlfriends, fiancés, and young wives. Why are these monuments being built on U.S. soil? Baseless monuments are built on U.S. soil, which may disgrace not only Americans but also those who fought and died in WW2. comfort women issue is a fabricated issue that is used as a tool to harm bilateral relations between Japan-Korea and Japan-US. Which nations benefits from these relations to worsen? Which nations is trying to break the US-Japan relation? Why would USA encourage such parties/nations? USA in Okinawa bases obstacle for some nations. Eager to create rifts in USA-Japan security alliance. Okinawa's military bases are one of the core of USA-Japan security alliance, and are also core of Southeast Asian security, so it's obstacle for nations to aim obtaining its hegemony. The following banners and participants of anti-Okinawa bases show demonstrators' characters. The South Korean government was desperate to keep U.S. troops in the 1960s, and wanted the women to serve as patriots and civilian diplomats. Now 122 such women demand the government for compensations, and are now on trial. The Korean government is now an antinomy, whose sayings return to attack himself. Such boomerang may hit the ulterior targets, UN and USA. Comfort women were well paid, receiving 10 to 20 times more than a salary of company employee, 100 yen/m, and of carpenter, 50 yen/m, respectively. The U.S. Army Report Number 49, see the right part, made on October 1, 1944. Back up the facts. The report clearly stated that the living conditions of these girls were near luxury. They had plenty of money with which to purchase desired articles, and they amused themselves by participating in sports events, attended picnics, entertainments, and social dinners. As this document indicates, they were nothing but well-paid prostitutes. The picture on the right is an evidence indicating such processes and the paid amount with its date. She worked for 2 years and a quarter from June 1943 to September 1945, and in total of 26,145 yen in the military post office. She received 1,000 yen per month on average, meaning she earned more. In the 1940s, before the end of war, 5,000 yen was enough to buy a house in Tokyo. Do you still persist that comfort women were slaves? Ms. Moon Okeju had a deposited amount for 26,145 yen in the Japan Post Office, which was equivalent to then $6,000. However, after the end of war it was shrunk to $16, shrunk by 1/90th against US dollar, almost by 1%. So as too for other Korean comfort women. Ms. Moon could buy 5 houses in Tokyo before the end of war, but just one tailor-made dress only. How unhappy they were. Japanese had compassion for those comfort women, who worked hard and comforted the Japanese soldiers under wartime severe conditions. So to materialize our compassion, AWF, the Asia Women's Fund, was established, and AWF aided those who were help-needed ex-comfort women. Yes, we did much disregarding the others in the international society. We can't stop being so kind as to support the needed ex-comfort women who comforted the soldiers during wartime, regardless of then laws and rules. We do not behave self-proudly in doing such and such firstly in the world, however we have to say against groundless false accusations, not only for the old and present but for the future Japanese. We never forget cruelties of the war. However, we have overcome them. and have lived constructively. International rules, laws, and treaties have been instituted, and we have accepted, and have complied with them to coexist together. Any dispute shall be settled, not by passion, emotions, nor by forces, justly by laws and rules, and evidences. Thank you for your attendance to this panel exhibition. The issue is, as you may be aware of, argued hotly so long over 20 years. At first the nation and the government of Japan felt compassion and funded AWF for those comfort women. The atonement money were contributed to them. In the meantime, comfort women, who rejected atonement money or some were forced to reject, were collected by several lawyers' groups, and around 10 lawsuits were brought against the government petitioning compensations. All the cases was repelled finally by the Supreme Court in 2003. The lawsuit was turned to USA, and resulted in the same in 2006. Then the third stage began as the international issue. The House of Representatives in USA adopted a resolution in 2007, and in 2011, Korean Constitutional Court gave a decision, both recognizing the issue as bilateral, defining comfort women as sex slaves without fact-finding, and asking only Japan for momentary settlement. We cannot stop being so kind as to support the needs of ex-comfort women, regardless of the laws and rules of the past. However, our kindness causes the situation to be so troubled. As a Japanese, we are ready to accept investigations and a decision of ICJ. Through the investigation we may know facts, when and where comfort women were abducted, from and to where they were moved, which parties and who were in charge, how comfort women's life were in comfort stations. We are confident that the trials would lead to the final and decisive settlement for this issue, and lead to resolution for the peace of the future, current and past generations.